Oh boy. You guys have no idea what kind of craziness is going on over here. Show's a little bit different today. We'll see momentarily what's going on. Hopefully you can hear me all right over the music. Let's see if I can turn that down a little bit and say what's up to everybody. On this Saturday, we're an hour earlier than usual. Who's in the chat today? We've got Wunengzi, Mark Crockett, Sean Hodgson. Sweet, you made it. Simple Sam, welcome back. Well, Sly Society, welcome back. Hank, what's up? Yes, it's me. Whether it's a lesson today remains to be seen. And yeah, I'm going to show you what's going on here in a little bit. High Tech 9, Soul Control. Yes, you can hear me. Very nice. So yeah, a little bit different format today. We've been real busy here at 343 Labs in New York City. I'm going to go ahead and just switch right in. Hey, what's up, everybody? That didn't do it. Hey, sorry. Hey, what's up, everybody? I missed the switch. So yeah, as you can see right next to me here in this other view, there's some craziness going on. There's some setting up going on. You can hear it as well. The audio's on. And we have a special guest here today by the name of Ernesto Romeo. He's going to do a pro session for us. He's brought a ton of gear. Modular synths, standalone hardware synths, drum machines. I see a real 909 on that table. He's borrowed my Juno 106. And the 343 Labs Micro Freak is on the table there. They're still getting set up. They're going to get started hopefully on time. I think they have another hour. They're scheduled to start up. Actually, wait, is it 1 or 2? Thomas is here in the room with me. Is it 1 or 2? Is it 1 or 2 o'clock they're starting? 1:30. All right. Well, we'll see if they make it because there's still a lot of cables to plug in. And Ernesto's going to be presenting a 4-hour pro session entirely in Spanish. And I don't know. I'm just so impressed by like how much stuff he brought. And honestly, I'm not very familiar with his work, so I thought it would be cool to like speak with him for a few minutes, and get a little idea of what he's doing, what he's about, what he's going to be presenting. And then also we can also nerd out on the gear he's got over here. So putting a little background music on. Why not? We can have a little atmosphere while we discuss things. So switching over to the handheld mic. And Thomas, give us the camera 3 so we can see the whole setup. Walking over here into the event space here at 343 Labs. Man, take a look at this setup. This is amazing. What's up, Ernesto? He's hiding here. You can't see him. He's off camera. He's hiding behind the modular rack here. This is an original Moog Model 15. Amazing. Cool. He's got an ARP sequencer up here. SH-101, a mini Moog. Oh my god, a synthy with the patch bay. Over here on this table, we've got a Buchla. And of course, previously mentioned, we saw the 909, the 303. There's that Micro Freak and my trusty old Juno 106, Ernesto. It's so nice to meet you. This is amazing. I can't believe this is a dedication, bringing all this and setting it up. It's incredible. So I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm new to you. I'm discovering you now. So I was wondering if you could just say a little bit about, who you are, what you do musically, and then a little bit about what you're gonna do today for the pro session.
My English is very bad.
All right, we'll go slow.
Okay. Well, I'm born in 1968, and I started with the music at 15, maybe in 1983, 84. I discovered electronic music in the 80s, and I'm fascinated, and I begin to study piano. I think that I need to know the keyboard techniques for playing synthesizer, but when I bought my first synthesizer, I understand that I need another concept for use and understand the whole world of electronic music and the synthesizer. What is a very, very special kind of instrument with no the common rules of musical instruments. And part of today's masterclass are about the peculiarities of the synthesizer and the system that the synthesizers create. These kind of instruments are very open systems in many ways. For the analog and control voltage ways, and for digital interconnection. And one instrument is not only a physical object, it's maybe a network with another object, and it's very different to the music and a common musical instrument. A guitar is a guitar, a piano is a piano, but we can connect all these kind of instruments between them and made a lot of very, very complex electro-organisms.
I like that idea, electro-organism. And it's a network of more than just one instrument. I totally understand that concept. That's really cool. All right, as far as your musical style, now I'm very into techno and electro in the kind of classic Kraftwerk, very futuristic sort of sense for electro and Detroit and techno. Been heavily influenced by that music. What kind of music do you create?
Well, I'm not a definite style. I like many styles of music, and for me the music is an emotional state of the human being, and maybe the music styles is more a form of communicate some idea of what can sound, but it's not for me the purpose of making music. I play a lot of different types of music. I play progressive rock bands for more keyboard-oriented use of the synthesizer, but in the rock format I use a lot the other language of electronic music. I use a lot this instrument for soundscape in songs, and my main project Klaus is a band that I found in 1988.
You said Klaus.
Klaus, yes, and it's an electronic music project with an open. It's an open space for experimentation. We do yes, maybe some things like techno or minimalistic, but sometimes we're more experimental or ambient stuff or whatever. We play live a lot. Dialogue during the when we play, we have our instruments connected between the members of the band.
Everything is synchronized?
Yeah, synchronized and with control and maybe Pablo, he sent me some signals and he used to sync and to process something and then return to the system.
That's interesting. Like you're processing each other's instruments.
Yes.
That's amazing. It's like another level of interaction besides just the musical idea.
Yes.
That's a really great idea and probably complicated to set up. I'm sure you have a lot. Your network is complex.
Yes. Sometimes we start a concert with the patching.
think that's interesting. From a standpoint of just pure creativity with the synthesizer, to start with no patch cables on a modular synth, and then to create the sound and the musical composition as you're patching, it's a great challenge. You really have to know what you're doing. But I think that's like a pure expression. I really like that.
Yes, for me, the modular concept is the basic fundamental concept of the synthesis. All synthesizers are modular. That kind of instrument is not a physical modular parts in the surface, but are modular inside. All the digital instrument is modular, conceptually modular. It's different to a common instrument that an instrument have parts. A guitar has many parts, but not are interchangeable. What's the
interchangeable makes sense.
Okay. In a synthesizer, you can use a model in many ways, and in many ways at the same time. I use an oscillator to audio signals and to control signals at the same time, and to auto-modulate. And the network, the modular system, are for me more interesting and more complex and more open of the synthesis world. All instruments, very simple instruments like the Minimo or the Juno, are incredible, but the modular concept is the real concept of the synthesis.
I think, I agree. I personally haven't experimented much with modular synthesis, but I do, mainly using software, try to use some of these techniques with signal routing and modulation. For example, in Ableton Live or Max for Live devices, you can route almost anything to anything. So I keep some of those concepts in mind. And that's also something that comes up in class here at 343 Labs. I do a synthesis and sound design class, kind of an introduction. It's like an artist getting to know their brushes and their paints, like what are the different textures, and what, as a composer and producer, what are all the different synths available to me, what kind, so people can learn what does that sound like, what can I expect from that, what can I do with just a simple subtractive synthesizer, relating that to genre and things like that. So, but it does come up sometimes when we talk about complex modulation, and where the modulators become like an instrument and playing a musical phrase or doing something more than just playing.
Control signals. The envelope is a control signal, the LFO is a control signal, the keyboard is a control signal, the sequencer is a control signal, the arpeggiator is a control signal, and the keyboard, yes, it's very different to an instrument that an acoustic instrument has one kind of sound source. The synthesizer has no sound source. It's an electric device with an electronic control, and you can sculpt the controls for made the final signal, and the modulation is the key concept, or the control is the key concept in the synthesis. It's different to another electronic musical instrument. When you play a theremin, we need to play a theremin. You need to move the hands, or when you play a Hammond organ, you need to play keys and the drawbars and turn off and on the switches. But in synthesizer, you can do a patch, and the instrument can do a very complex sequence of events or soundscape or whatever, and it's very different. You can make the dynamics, the colors, all the nuance of the sound tools, and it's it's an artisan of sound, and if you play a keyboard synthesizer and you use other things than the presets, you are in that world. Not necessarily the modular and the patching. All the system is synthesis about control.
That sounds excellent, and I know you're going to go into a lot of what we've just been talking about in your pro session today. Unfortunately for me, it will all be in Spanish, although I have heard something about there will be a video. I think we're trying to do subtitles.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you finish your setup. You're going to start your session pretty soon, and I need to get on with mine. So it's really great to meet you and to have an introduction to what you're doing today. And anyone out there who is understanding Spanish and interested in, there's going to be some amazing stuff going on today. So definitely, you can still sign up at 343 Labs. There's a pro session for today, and then again, we're going to have a video of it, hopefully with subtitles for those of you who aren't fluent. So good. I'm going to get back into the studio, and again, nice to meet you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Hey everybody. I realize that the sound wasn't perfect, and hopefully you caught a little bit of what he was saying. I think what he had to talk about sounded pretty amazing, and I'm definitely looking forward to at least listening and watching to what he's doing today. And he's got some really cool. I know I can tell as someone who is teaching and, sharing information about, what I'm passionate about. I can tell he's going to have a really good presentation today. Again, definitely, this is going to be streaming live, and also, there's going to be some people here in person, hopefully, because we've got some seats set up here in the event space at 343 Labs, and I don't know. This was kind of fun for me to stretch out and try something new on the stream. Doing a live interview like that is, it's a little bit different. So let's see. Let's check out what's going on in the chat here. I was gonna do bring my phone with me so I could get some questions while we were discussing things, but I think it was just a little bit hectic for me to do that. And let's see, who else is in the chat here today? Raiv 1980, what's up? You guys are talking about, I see. The mic is really directional. I see. Yeah, I was trying to follow Simple Sam. I was trying to follow him with the mic a little bit. I mean, I should have had him. We have a lav mic set up for the actual pro session, so he can move around and work with all the synths and not have to worry about holding a mic. I should have put that on him, but this was all sort of last minute, a little bit hectic. So let's see, how are we doing for time? It's 20 minutes into the show, and let's see. Sean Hodson has asked, maybe I can recap when he's done. Right. Well, there were a lot of words. I would say if you're really interested in what he has to say, you're going to have to check out the pro session. And again, I can't promise this 100%, but I heard that we're going to try to get English subtitles for the recording of the pro session. So if that's the case, right, then people will be able to watch the video. But in order to get access to that video, you still have to go to 343 Labs and sign up for and purchase a ticket for the pro session today. So I would encourage all of you, especially those of you fluent in Spanish, to do that and check that out today. Now, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? Let's see. I had a couple of ideas. I was thinking electro today, and I've been doing sketches for a while and not finishing them. So that's one thing that we can spend the rest of the time doing, is starting to arrange something. The other one idea I had was blank slate from scratch, starting an electro track just from the ground up. Do a little bit of synthesis and sound design, but maybe, also, just whatever comes to mind. So I'm going to let you guys decide. Maybe if a handful of you, not exactly vote, but let's see. Do you want me to start working on an arrangement for the next half hour, or do we want to start a new track from scratch? I realize there's about a minute or two delay on the comments, so I'm going to go back while I'm waiting to see what you say. All right, James Porch says arranging. That's good. That's one for arranging. Raive1980 says blank slate. That's Sam says this is what I do, sketches and not finishing them. So I'm guessing Sam wants to see arrangement. Ariel Gray wants to see arrangement. That's 3 for arrangement and 1 for blank slate. What do we say? Let me get a couple more. All right, there's another one for arrangement. I feel like that's the way the scale is already tilting towards arrangement. So I'm just going to go with what I had loaded up here. What is going on? My chat just disappeared. Let's go over here to the main view. All right, so this is what I have. Let's see. This is the background music. Oh, and the volume is way, way low, so. All right. I need some more volume in my studio so I can hear what I'm doing. So I have this kind of chill, futuristic soundscape going on here. You know what I just realized? The monitoring from the other room is still on, so I'm listening to them do their setup while I listen to my music. This happens, and I'm still learning how to be a broadcaster. This is a hard job to do all by yourself. So I'm actually going to have to go back here just for a second. And we are going to get rid of the monitoring. Oh, that's much better. Now I don't hear the other room anymore. All right. So this sketch that I started, this was trying out that new Arturia Fragments granular processor. So there's also already a lot of subtle variation in some of the sounds, which is great because you can let a thing like this loop. And it's interesting. It's not, because of the little changes in the sounds, it kind of keeps your brain interested. Now, when I make tracks like this that have like a total super spacey ambient pad or atmosphere, I have to think about where to use it. So, and this is the thing, if I start with just the beats, it's going to start off with like a lot of energy, even if it's just a kick drum. And then when you bring in a mellow, spacey element, it lowers the energy level relatively. So it's kind of an easy move if you're to start out with the chill elements and then add the energetic element. So that kind of is a little easier to pull off than if you start with energy and then introduce the chill element. But it'll work if there's enough contrast. Cool. Simple Sam says, this is not normal 606. Is that all fragments that makes it sound so different? All right. Okay, not exactly arranging, but yeah, this is mainly the fragments that's causing this extra You're hearing reverb and glitching from the granular processing. All right, so back to arranging. Let's not get too caught up in the sounds right now. I'll go back to that later. So, all right, my first thought is start out ambient, start out chill. And I've got, I don't know, there's two versions of this clip and I've forgotten how different they are. Okay, this is higher. All right, so I'm gonna start low. Just starting out with this is nice. Bring the volume up a little bit in the stream. Now, the other thing that's going on here are these 303s. So there's one low one and one high kind of bleepy one. I think I'm going to start with the bass. And then this is a thing. This is, you know, how to introduce an instrument in your DAW or in Ableton Live. Where, normally you start a clip in real time or copy that clip into the arrangement view. But here, the sound is being sequenced from within the plugin. You know, if I was working DAW-less and this was a 303 plugged into my mixer, I would unmute it or fade up the volume. Or maybe on the instrument, I would switch between a blank pattern and then the pattern that I want. Any three of those ways would work for arranging. If I'm, you know, kind of do it the easy old school way, though, I would just, again, like mute, unmute, or fade in that sound. I think a fade in on this would sound cool. I don't like to use the track levels for arranging and automation. I like to keep those so I can easily adjust the overall volume of the track when I'm mixing, and then I'll use something else to another volume control. I mean, the easiest thing for me to do in live usually is to group everything into an instrument rack or an audio effects rack and then automate the chain level. So that's what I'm going to use to fade in. And I just need to decide how long do I want to hear the pad sequence go before I start bringing in. That's about right. Like if I want to not wait too long, I can have it start being audible sort of before like 16 bars. Right, and since I'm setting my overall level with the track volume, I want to bring this up to full volume. I want to have the chain go up to 0. Now I have to decide, do I want drums to come in first, or do I want to bring in that next layer of 303 on top? And I feel like I want to keep it more synthy before the drums come in, so. Now, do I want to fade it in like I brought in the bass? Or do I want to just have it start? Let's see. I'm thinking because it's slowly fading in with the bass and it's got this whooshy ambient pad thing going, I'm just going to start it. Now, instead of just unmuting it or activating it, going to do what I usually do with ABL3. You know, it's got this internal sequencer, but I can actually go in and export the pattern as MIDI, and then I can play. Then I can have an actual clip or a MIDI, you know, a MIDI track playing in my arrangement, so I can see it. That's a little bit easier to work with. All right, where do I want to save this? I'll just save it here for now. Actually, no. Let's find where it belongs. Let's put it in the right place. Which is going to be in my Ableton folder, my projects. And this project is called our Electro Fragments. No. There it is. All right, so we're gonna put it in here. All right, so we'll call this 3.0. I don't have a name for this track yet, so I'm just gonna call it Fragments again. 303I, right? That's the higher part. All right, so now I have a MIDI file to play that with. I can take that out of the current project. Should show up in here. There it is. Bring that onto the track, and then in ABL3, I'm going to change the mode from pattern to note. And that way, instead of just playing back internally, it's going to... Did I do the wrong one? That doesn't sound right. No, that's right. That's right. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go back to the... Sometimes they don't export perfectly, but let's see. No, that's right. Right, back to note. Yep, I just forgot. All right, so now it's easier to decide where it's going to happen, right? So that's definitely something to think about when you're using plugins or synths that have internal sequences. You can't always do this. If this was a real 101 without MIDI, I would have no other choice but to unmute it or fade it in or something similar to that, usually. All right, so let's bring that in about 33. Ariel Gray says, lots of guys fading in these days. I don't hear low pass filter on tracks as much. Yeah, it's kind of a stylistic choice. I like filtering, and not necessarily low pass filtering, but using filters instead of volume fade sounds a little more interesting to me most of the time. Simple Sam is asking about my Swiss Army meter. It is a Max for Live device. Yes, it shows you loudness units, full scale, and a couple other useful metering applications. All right, we're still in the first minute, 45 seconds of this track. Let's hear how it sounds with the 303, the higher 303 line just starting right at 33 bars. That's fine. I feel like I need to EQ it, mix it a little bit different so it's a little bit brighter, but I'm not going to worry about that yet. I want to just... Now, let's bring in some drums. But I don't want all the... I think I could... Let's try kick drum only. I feel like that's too much power all of a sudden. It's so light and atmospheric. Snare drum's too much. Maybe just the hi-hats? Or I may need another element that's not as intense. The other thing I can think about is as part of the arrangement is playing with the sounds a little bit more. I mean, the 303s obviously are meant to be tweaked, right? We can play with the cutoff and the resonance and everything, and it can get a little bit more intense. I was thinking of doing more just like a basic structure and then going back and doing automation or real-time control of the synths along with that shape. But we can also get into the details of automation while we do the structure. Either way is fine. All right, let's see. There's another option here that we could play with, and that is the granular drums without the dry signal might be interesting. Let's see if we can pull that off. So that's just on the snare. What happens if I let's get rid of the kick. It's a little intense, but that could be something. Let's try and drop that in somewhere in here. And I think also, let's start playing around with the lower 303 a little bit. I don't mind this with the little glitchy snares. They might be happening a little too often. I like the idea of bringing the lower 303 up a little bit. Maybe they're at 49. The faster hi-hats could come in. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I suddenly just start getting a little more intense with the hi-hats. Getting there. I'm gonna mute some of these snares so we don't hear it as much. And then at the same time, I could also automate the grain mix, so we start to hear, or I can bring in the snare drum. All right, so that's an idea. Have to smooth out the granular effect a little bit so it's a bit less crazy. I don't often think about fading in snares, but I'm going to do it today just because. I usually like to have them start right away. But it is, fading it in like that with the granular stuff. It's kind of definitely, it's kind of amping up the energy like pretty well. I think we know when the kick drum has to happen, right? It's gonna happen right here. Okay, wrong clip. All right, totally blew that one. Let's fix it. Like, why are all of the clips wrong? Let's go back to this one and unmute the kick drum, and that should do it. And then I need to. Once you start like copying and pasting clips that have automation in them in your arrangement in live, you got to remember like that you might be pasting the wrong value for a parameter into a part. So you can see right here, like it put the snare drum back to the dry wet in the granular effect back to 0 dry, right? So just keep that in mind, and also you can lock your automation so that when you copy and paste clips, it doesn't move, it doesn't change the automation. It just changes the clip, what the clip is playing. So either way, just keep that in mind. because there's definitely been times when I forgot and I went through an arrangement and suddenly a sound like got weird or disappeared or was totally wrong, and I had to go through and like delete and 7 different automation envelopes, and it just slows you down. So better if you are prepared for it in the beginning. All right, so I like this energy level, and I like that it's not taking too long to get there. I don't want this to be an epic 7-minute track. I want it to, kind of get to the point. Maybe more like 5 minutes. All right, just listening. You all, when I arrange, I always have to keep, especially if I'm doing this kind of building up from left to right, linear arranging, I have to keep going back to the beginning to refresh and make sure that the timing of what I'm doing is correct. There's other ways to approach it, of course, but if you're doing, say, subtractive arranging, which I'm pretty sure I've done on the stream before, where you just start with a big block, copying out all your parts over however many minutes, and then take away from it, start sculpting it. I also need to remember to play around with the second 303 a little bit. Maybe I'll just do that live while we listen. Maybe I want the kick drum to come there. I don't know. I wanted something different to happen there, whether it was the hi-hats or something else. I'm not exactly 100% psyched about what just happened there. We need to figure out, like, something has got to change in here. What happens if we get rid of the pads? And then another thing is I'm going to try bringing in the higher octave of the pads here. Somewhere in the middle. It's going to kind of open it up a little bit. I'm also going to try bring down both of the 303s so they're a little bit less intense there. Whoa, man, did you see what just happened? It's been one of those days. Live just crashed. Let's switch back over to the welcome screen. And I don't know, I guess I'll just check in with the chat a little bit while I reload live. I suppose it might be that running 3 or 4 instances of that new granular plugin from Arturia might be taxing my computer just slightly. That's really crazy. So yeah, going back through some of these comments here. Welcome, Acid Bat, by the way. Nice to see you. Absent is back. Good to have you. Sean Hodgson says, I hate when that happens with automation. He's talking about the copying and pasting, right? And then all of a sudden your automation's all messed up. So yeah, just remember in live the lock button so you can copy and paste and not move around the automation as well. But then, of course, if you want to copy automation, which you can even copy automation separately from the MIDI, then unlock it. Yeah, right. And just like that crash. Hey, Schmer Records, Jason Trostek is in the house. Welcome. Someone said something about the pads. Maybe kill most of the pads. That's where I was going for that transition was like, and that's why I kind of, I I brought in that higher version of the pads where you hear the little pitch bendy thing more, so it creates a little bit more tension, but it's still pretty chill. And then that change before it goes away kind of seems more interesting, and then I can bring it back again later. All right, live is taking its own sweet time. Its own sweet time reloading. Do you want to recover? Yes, I want to recover. Fingers crossed that it saved it properly. I mean, most of the time nowadays, live is pretty good with the undo history and recreating a session from the history. So it should be where I left it. And I can hear they're starting to make some noise next door. Oh, why am I looking at the screen share now? I want to see the camera. Where'd the camera go? Let's see if I can get that NDI thing. I don't know what is happening with the NDI. I might have to let's switch back over. I won't mess around with it. We did our whole first 20 minutes. For those of you who came later, we had our nice interview and you saw the setup for the pro session today. That guy seems real nice, really knowledgeable, so definitely check it out today. Ernesto Romeo for the pro session. It's Spanish again, so if we're hoping to get the subtitles hooked up in English for the video after the fact, but in order to get the video, you still have to sign up for the pro session. There should be a link here in the chat somewhere to sign up for that. And of course, you can go to our website. There we have the links below in the description. I didn't even do my usual intro and spiel about 343 Labs and music production school and 343 Studio. We just went straight into the interview, which again, I'm having fun. I'm learning about doing broadcasting and thinking of different things to do for the show. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed my kind of playing around and experimenting with that. And of course, we still had a little bit of time to come back and make some music and start arranging this sketch that I started a little while back. Cool. Let's see. Sean Hodgson says, make sure you said AWOL in that crash report. Does anyone actually do that and not just cancel? I should be doing that, right? Wouldn't that be the responsible thing whenever there's a crash? I mean, it's got to be that. It's got to be the plugins, right? That never happens when I'm running. Very rarely happens when I'm running only live native devices. Okay. All right, so let's see how much of my arrangement it saved. Oh, pretty decent amount. Let's get back to it. We just have a few more minutes to go over this before we're done today. All right, so that 303 needs to go back into note mode. Like we didn't. I think we're maybe missing some automation. What's that snare track? It's a little harsh. I haven't EQ'd any of these sounds or anything. Yeah, it's really sharp. Pad is gone. It totally, yes. You were right, Sean. We could just let this groove. Now I need a new element. Like, what else do I have? I guess in a way I was kind of starting a little bit too soon on the arrangement with this. Because now I realize that I've done that whole intro and I don't have anything else to add. So that can be good though. It is a good exercise, I think, to see how much you can get out of a few elements. Like, how would you make this work in the arrangement without adding another layer to it? Besides parameters modulating, with repetitive kind of rhythmic synth stuff, right? We can tweak the sounds up and down and create, build up energy and break down energy and create contrast that way. But of course, it's easy to, I do this all the time. I mean, even with a musical training, I'll be like, wait a minute, I can do chord changes. I can transpose things. I can do, there's so many other musical things to change. And of course that could start taking it out of your style. Like if you're trying to be really hypnotic or minimal, like you don't want to do too much musical change, but I'm just going to try it. And then if I did want to do some kind of musical change, how would I do that? One of the things I used to do with a real 303 is transpose it in real time. Use a little button and you can transpose up and down by chromatic steps. Or you could just retune it with the tuning knob. What if there? Now this is something where it's easy. Like because I turned the higher 303 into MIDI, I can just transpose the MIDI notes and make variations here. Right, so I can just take that whole pattern and transpose it up, or maybe just change some of the notes. Which is, you know, in a real 303, I'd have to duplicate the pattern or copy and paste the pattern and then edit the second, you know, the copy and switch between them. So this would be sort of something like that. All right, small change. Very small change. Let's see how that works. I'm also going to chill out the hi-hats a little bit. Maybe put a fill in before the change, just so to highlight that there's something different happening. Yep. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of a change in the melody. I don't know, I have to experiment with that. That's nicer. Up the lower. Switch the hi-hats again. Easy. Keep it simple. Just alternate between different variations. About doing a little fill before that first change. But maybe on that last quarter note, I'm just splitting that out, getting rid of the kick, and just adding some 16th note snares. What if we do a little variation on the kicks in this part? Let's highlight that so I can remember it's different. A little variation on the hi-hats. Another little drum variation. Whoa, some of that glitchy stuff on the snares is so cool. All right, let's see what happens if I just pause everything. Once we get into these little details, man, it's like this is where the time-consuming stuff happens. I usually like to have it more fleshed out before, and then go back and and then dive into the transitions. But I don't know. It feels right to do this at the moment, so I'm just going to do it. I feel like I'm going to have to add some other elements back in, or something new here. But what happens if... Let's see what happens. I was saying before about the pad lowers the energy level. What happens if we try and put... This is the only other musical element that I have that's not in there right now. So let's see whether it works or not, bringing it in here. Could also fade it in, now that I think about it. Fading it in might help it keep it from, kind of sneaking it in. Maybe it won't feel like all of a sudden that it spaces out too much. Let's do that. All right, I'm going to try fading it in, and then at the change putting in the higher one, because that has when it's brighter, it's less chill. And we were talking about volume fades versus filtering as an arrangement element. What if we did it, and I said I like to not use low pass filters. A lot of times I'll just use an EQ to do the filter automation, or you can do something like the auto filter and use EQ separately. Let's just use an EQ. All right. So this sound is very, very mid-range, right? Hey, what's up, Thomas? We're almost done here. It's all good, man. It's crazy today. Right, so I'm actually, I'm a high pass filtering out almost everything about this sound. And so it's going to sort of sneak in rather than doing a volume fade. And I might do a little bit of volume fade too. So you're just going to start hearing this sort of the shininess in the background sneaking up. And then actually having it be mostly in the highs, it doesn't take up as much of the energy in the low end, and it's, And let's drop the kick drum out there. It's like a little mini break. We're going to lose the higher 303. That works. Maybe we'll filter the low 303 up again. It'd be more fun to do this with a MIDI controller, like hands on the knobs. It would be more dynamic, more subtle, or more subtle. I'm thinking maybe even another break here. That works. All right. We're almost at 4 minutes. All right, here's where maybe I want to copy the automation, because I can do that whole fade in the pads thing that I just did before. Okay, that should keep going. Let's bring in the high ones again. Use one of these fills I did before. Don't be afraid to reuse things that you did. Let's put back the other 303 again. Change the hi-hats in this one. I like just the simple going back and forth between the fast and the 8th note and the 16th note hi-hats. back and do some of the automation on the... Oh, it crashed again. Man, it's got to be the plugins, I tell you. That is frustrating. Well, okay, no big deal. We're over the hour. I got to get back and see what's going on with these other guys and help them get set up for this pro session. And man, what a day. Thanks everybody for being here. To all the regulars, anybody new out there. It was a little bit of a roller coaster today. Not, a little bit imperfect with the sound, and I did my best. I'm gonna have every time I do it better. So hopefully I'm gonna get, I've said this before. Now that we're doing more events here in New York, we have guests coming in. I want to have more kind of real time, in-person interviews, and maybe even have some guests presenting. Like if someone's coming in here to do a pro session or a live performance here in New York, that's definitely it's on my list of things to do. So thanks again to all. We have this great pro session today. Check that out. I mean, again, you got to understand Spanish to get the most out of it, but you will, though, later on. At least you can watch and listen, get some of the concepts, and then, hopefully we'll have the video with the full subtitles in English, so you can get all of the details. That's it for me. Thanks again. I'll be back next week, I think. Yeah, I'm doing some traveling coming up soon, so we may be skipping another weekend. I'll let you guys know. And that's it for now. Thanks. See you next time.